This is a spoiler review. Heavy spoilers. Some shit goes down in this film.
Is it?
Hello, welcome to Cut and Rail. Today we're going to be reviewing Hereditary, the new horror film by Ari Aster, in which Toni Collette's mum dies and she starts discovering secrets about her ancestry along with strange, possibly supernatural goings on at the same time. What did you think?
I'm still undecided on whether I like this film, and I feel like I'll decide by the end of this review, otherwise this is pointless. Also, check out The Fade.
Oh, no.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I can't believe he's editing this one, so he's going to keep that in.
No, I think it was alright for the most part. I just thought it was a bit much. I feel like it has a lot of problems that I think comes with a lot of modern horrors, which I will get into later.
Okay.
I thought it was awful in everywhere. It was despicably bad. There's no point of it that I thought was good, apart from the camera, like the cinematography. The camera bits, the cinematography was really good. Critics eat this shit up. I don't have time for this shit.
Well, I've got a point about that a bit later on.
Really just absolutely awful everywhere. I'll get into it in more detail after the initial thoughts though.
It was a movie with a lot of intrigue and good moments, but I didn't like it overall.
Okay.
Because of the cult aspect of it.
Yeah. I'm sort of in the middle between critics and audiences. I think it's been very critically overrated and by the audiences overhated. Come on. Audiences and critics rarely seem to agree on horror films.
Yeah.
And usually it's a good indicator of how fucking detested a horror film's going to be if it's critically acclaimed. But I did really like a lot about it. I thought everyone was great in it, especially Toni Collette was brilliant, but when I should not.
Good show.
Cinematography was great.
Shout out to Toni Collette.
Yeah, she is
Little
she's a
Miss,
very underrated actress, I think, actually,
She is.
Toni Collette.
Little Miss Sunshine, eat your heart out.
I love seeing Gabriel Byrne for a change because you never seem to see him in anything for some reason.
He's Unusual Suspects.
He was like
and Miller's Crossing.
he was like the only one I liked.
I thought it was more of a rewarding horror film. It wasn't just stuff jumping out at you all the time. I thought it was really atmospheric, like a sense of dread. It was horrible without being disgusting. I thought, like I was watching it, but I was it was little things, you know, like when she meets that woman in the car park at the supermarket,
Oh my god.
and you can just see like the little hills and stuff around, and when they're driving along to that party, it's just like this empty road, and it's just like it's almost like a wasteland. It's like they're just alone in the world, and there's just they're gonna have no outside help for any of this film.
What I thought was quite good about it, I thought they used lots of little things that in modern day life would not like gross you out, but like would just make you go, oh, that's weird. Like if someone did like the little things they were doing in the film, I'd go, you're a bit weird, you.
Yeah.
And I think they use that to their like a positive.
Yeah.
I don't think lots of films do that, because a lot of horror films they try and do the overly jump shock horror,
Yeah.
and it's
I have
like
to say-
go, and
do-
I'm like no.
I
No.
I enjoy like a jumpy horror film when it's on. If I just want to like stick it on and just like I'm in the mood for a horror, but not one I have to really think about, and I just want to like get a little bit scared at the time. But like it rarely does that stuff ever stay with you. But this is the kind of stuff like that. I feel like that's the thing audiences want from a horror film now, to go in and just like kind of jump and laugh about it with whoever they're with, whether on a date or with friends or whatever. But this is one where it more like kind of gets under your skin rather than you sitting there like terrified that someone's going to jump out at you. I mean, I don't think there was a single jump scare in the whole film.
Yeah, but like what you're saying about like the atmosphere of it, like the atmosphere was just boring. People do boring things for like the entire thing.
I disagree.
I disagree.
I felt that too, to be honest. I was quite bored.
I don't think that's what it. I think it creates this vibe of anything can happen, but we're not just going to give you anything. We're going to give you stuff that should matter to the characters and does matter. I think it's subtle.
It is subtle. I mean,
And it's horror, but what I don't like is that I don't think it's subtle in its explaining of the story and explaining
That-
of the character
that-
motivations.
yeah.
It's very in your face.
That was my main problem, because that's the thing. It gives you the clues and it treats you really intelligently. Like, one thing I really liked when Toni Collette finds that note from her mum at the start, and it's just on the screen and it lets you read it. Because I hate when characters like read stuff aloud when they're by themselves, and it's merely for the audience so they can just sit there, but they treat you, you know, you can read this.
I like that as well.
Like, and you're finding all these clues, like all the markings and things, the photographs, and you put it together yourself, and then at the end it just outright explains it to you, and that was my main issue with it, because I thought it was really good and treating you like treating its audience intelligently, and then at the end it's like, just in case you missed everything in the film, this is what's happening. And it sort of spoils the ending a bit, because I think the ending's there, but it would have been a lot more up for debate if it wasn't just like vocally explained.
I agree.
And it would have got people talking more, and it would have been a much scarier ending where with just no dialogue, just that happens. It would have been much better, I think, but still really good. Still enjoy it.
I don't think it does that enough. I know what you mean. I think it kind of, it does set things up, and it doesn't read things to you, but it does hammer home what's going to be later a plot point. Like when she opens the note, it's like, that's obviously going to be something that happens later. I know you can't really go through films and treat that as if it's a negative, but like there's a bit at the beginning, it's like within the first 5 minutes, and the little girl in it has a nut allergy.
Yeah.
And she starts eating a chocolate bar, and the dad comes over and he goes, oh no, does that have nuts in? And then she goes, no. But then the mom comes over, Toni Collette comes over and goes, oh no, does that have nuts in? It's like, yeah, I get it. She's got a nut allergy. Like, we'll get it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Then get some nuts.
Like you've established that with the first quote. You didn't need to reiterate it, just to hammer home something that's going to recur later on. Because later on when they do it, when she has a nut allergy and she ends up having like an anaphylactic reaction, it doesn't explain literally why she's had this reaction. It's, you just put it together. She got a nut allergy. She eats a bit of chocolate cake. There's nuts in the chocolate cake.
Yeah.
So, but they've hammered it home before. Like, not hammering it home later on doesn't excuse the fact that like 5 minutes into the film you're repeating things already.
I think it's very inconsistent though, and even all the way through, and everything it does, even like stuff like that, like you say, like it hammers that home, and like I feel like it over explains loads and then under explains loads, and like it does its best to like just be such an inconsistent film all the way through. Like this isn't like a plot point or anything, but the fucking dog, right? The dog is
strange.
in one scene at the very beginning apparently.
Yeah.
When he's sitting on his bed, I didn't see it, and then for the rest of the film you don't see it till the end. All of a sudden it's in the house, and you're like, "Isn't one of that a dog?"
I think you see it at the door, then it comes in and barks at a ghost, and then you're just shown that it's dead.
Yeah, and
And I feel like that was kind of like just shoehorned in, because it's like everything's more horrible when the dog dies. Isn't
yeah,
it?
actually, yeah, that does make
And
sense.
it was just like kind of, here's this dog you didn't get to kind of know it was just lying there dead.
Yeah, I didn't see it at the beginning either.
Yeah.
And it's not the only thing where I'm just a bit... Like, what I thought was weird was, early on in the film, Toni Collette sees her dead mum in the corner of the room. It's obviously like a ghost, or it might just be her mentality at the time.
Really good.
And I really enjoyed the scene. She turns the light on and it disappears, as it does in every horror film.
That was one of the only good bits I thought, actually.
Yeah, I really did like that, and it did scare us. But the thing is that I think it sets up the way it's set up is as if it's going to be a jump shock horror, and then it's the moments like that where nothing happens, and you start thinking, even when something scary happens, it's like, this isn't going to pay off. It's not. They're not going to give us the jump shock. Like, if it was Insidious, and I haven't seen Insidious, but like I imagine the ghost's there, and then she goes to turn the light on, and instead of the ghost disappearing, it just like runs at her and then disappears as soon as she turns the light on. If you know what I mean?
I don't think that would ever happen in a horror film. Actually, I feel like I feel like that was such a like traditional, stereotypical fake out scare that they do in every horror film at the very beginning.
Yeah, I know,
Like,
but
the first half, they show you something scary. The character's like, "Oh, what's that?" And then they like turn the light on. It's a sheet.
They
You
have
know?
started doing that now, and then you let your guard down, and then they give you the shock straight after in an unexpected way, because they started doing that, and then people sort of got wise to it, and then they just like kind of trick you a little bit, and then just shock you anyway in a slightly more creative way.
I feel like one of the biggest issue I have with the film is that I feel like it starts 10 different plot points for the first half, goes absolutely nowhere with them, and then at the end tries to wrap it all up. Like, I just felt like everything was just inconsequential and did not matter at all. And like, this isn't like a matter of I like jump scare horrors, even some of my favourite horrors, like atmospheric ones like The Babadook or It Follows and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Babadook's miles better than this film, by the way.
I did. Yeah, I love The Babadook. I really liked this, but
they're both shite.
Nowhere
They're both the same film.
not
near.
at all. No.
But like this film, like there's so much stuff that happened that I just went, alright, what does this matter? And it never did matter. Like all
I feel
the
like
time
it
she was making all the little dollhouse things, and like that art gallery's corner. What did that matter in the end? What did that matter at all? Like the art gallery kept calling her, like, we need to get this work done. You know, come on. I thought it was just eating up screen time that it did not need to eat up.
Well, I disagree. I think they're showing them. I mean, if you just show everything that's utterly necessary in a film, you know, you can't really flesh out a character that like she's got a job, and it was kind of it works kind of. That's the metaphor of the film, really.
I understand.
They're in a dollhouse kind of thing, and they're not in control of themselves. They're all being manipulated in some way, and they don't really know.
I understand your critique, but this is my favourite part of the film.
What,
I think
the dollhouse.
the
I
dollhouse.
mean, like it's good visuals, I think. Yeah.
Well, no, but it's good visuals, but then it lends itself to the way the film's made and the way it's framed is that it's part of this dollhouse. Everything looks everything's too tidy. Nothing's lived in. The whole home that they live in is like this show house, and I mean I didn't see anything change in the frames that were sort of like like The Shining. But I think that would have been good if they did do that, where like even if it was little things in the background move places. That would have been good and would lend it to that kind of being manipulated. And I think it's part of the metaphor. And the beginning shot of the film is the camera goes in on.
Oh yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah,
Actually, that was
on
another
that.
part I really
On the
liked.
It
dollhouse.
still looks like they're in the dollhouse, and
Yeah.
then that's how they end it as well when they pan out and
Yeah,
I get-
and I think that's what I think the whole idea is that this film could be all in Toni Collette's mind, and she's just making this little house. And as it goes on, like all of these things are just like representative of her going through the grief of her mum dying, and then her going through the grief of her daughter dying, and then it's all in this little. It's just all in her head, and then at the end they pull out and you see it's in the dollhouse. And maybe none of it's happened. I think that would be a fair conclusion to make.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I just feel like the movie's just jerking itself off all the way through. Like, look how clever I am. Like, I don't know. I just didn't like it. I didn't like that little girl. She like builds like little robot matchstick men or
Not
whatever.
robots.
Like no, but like she builds like little men out of like like aluminum and stuff and all these different household items to make it look like a robot or whatever, like all the way through. And then like that goes nowhere as well.
It does go somewhere because when you find out later on, the twist of the film is that this friend that Toni Collette thinks she's met isn't actually a friend, and she's in this cult that was also involved Toni Collette's mother, and it gets like quite convoluted towards the end, but. These little matchstick men, as you call them, I don't think that's what they are, but we'll call them that.
No, but like they're made out of.
But that's the thing.
Stuff.
She's possessed by that god from hell,
Yeah.
and it's in the wrong body. It has to be in a male body, and it's like sort of expressing itself, but it can't fully because it's not in the correct body. You know, like when it cuts off the dead bird's head,
Yeah.
and it's making those little things like worshippers. So it can't really have worshippers because it's in the wrong form, and then the rest of the film is them trying to get it into the son's body,
Ugh, I don't know.
so it's in the right form.
I feel like I just checked out very soon in this
I
film.
really liked
and
it.
stopped
I
caring.
think it's overrated though, very much so. Like it's a really good horror, but there are critics saying it's the scariest film ever made,
was
and
not
it
the
just
scariest.
it isn't at all. It's a really good horror film, but it's no, I think the marketing has done it no favours. It's really hyped it up beyond belief.
I do agree with that. I thought it looked unreal when I saw the trailer.
Yeah, and I do think it's really good, but it's nowhere near as good as what they're saying. But it's by no means a bad film.
I think the main problem is that it's a slow burner, and I think that's totally fine. But they build a lot of things up, and it doesn't really pay off necessarily. And I don't think this movie works when you get at the end and you realise that this whole cult thing's a reality, and that it is this supernatural goings on. I think it would be better if it was more metaphorical and that it's all in our head. I know it's been done before, and it's not really original, but at the same time, nothing in horror really is anymore original. So I don't think this is an original film at all.
I think that whole, blurring the lines between mental illness and the supernatural has just been done to death, especially recently. I'm really sick of it, and it's
It's not
in
mental
reviews when they
illness.
say it doesn't, it doesn't have this sort of commentary running through it. I'm like, who cares? If it does, then fine, but if it doesn't, I don't think that makes it a bad film. A film isn't a lecture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You go for entertainment, and if you get something more out of it, then even better.
Well,
to mark it down for reasons like that, I think is unfair.
if I'm supposed to take this film on face value, then I think it's dumb and I don't think it works.
Oh, fair enough then.
Yeah.
But if you look into it, I think it works. I think it works as a metaphor for grief. I think it works as a metaphor for Toni Collette going through the loss of pretty much our whole family by the end of it,
Yeah.
including ourselves. I don't think I'd much rather like it if it ended in a murder suicide, and it pans out to the little dollhouse, and then you think, oh, is it real or not? I'd much rather that. But at the same time, they've done this whole cult thing, and I wouldn't even begin to know. I wouldn't even be able to start explaining why this even makes sense. It's like you build this whole thing up, and it's none of the things that it's building up, and then it goes, oh, it's a cult, and it's been this thing that's been in the background, and people think that's smart.
No,
And it's smart when it's done well, I don't think it's
they
done
do
well.
build it up though.
No, they don't.
They really fucking do.
They don't. They're right. There's a page in a right. Everything you read in this film is what's building it up. It's a fucking page in a book. It's a letter by the nan, and that's about it.
It isn't. There's markings on all the walls and everything.
Oh yeah,
Her body gets dug up.
there's
She goes to see this Joni, who obviously has she says she's been to see a medium, and now suddenly knows how to contact spirits after one fucking session. You should be thinking, no. She knows how to do that. I was thinking right the way through, I have to say, her mum was a witch, and she was. It's there, I watch loads of horror films, and it's too many people go into horror films and at the end go, well, that was fucking daft. It's a fucking horror film. It's not meant to be fucking super realistic.
I know
it's
that.
a cult. It's fucking extremely horror. It's a cult worshipping a god from hell. Why does that not fit into horror?
I just think it's a bit dumb
But why?
I agree, it's a bit dumb.
because it's as dumb as a creature feature is, but a creature feature is so overtly meant to be entertaining, and this isn't entertaining. It's not fun. At one point I was thinking that this is a new genre, and it's a psychological drama.
Oh,
It's
no.
not even a thriller.
Yeah, but you're not meant to be in this and go, oh, let's have a good bit of fun watching children get decapitated.
No, but I'm not even intense in it. It's not intense. It's not thrilling.
Yeah,
It's not scary. It's
it's
a
boring.
drama between a family that ends in this cult devil worship. I don't think it's.
Yeah, I got nothing out of it that I would expect to get out of a horror. Even I know what you're saying, you'd only be scared all the time, but it wasn't thrilling. It wasn't. It was just boring for quite a lot of it.
Well, that's fair enough, but I just think when people say when a horror film turns out to have elements of horror films in it is stupid. I just think to say that is stupid. What were you expecting?
But there's so many horror films, right? Now I don't think stupid is oh well, it's not realistic. I think stupid is when you set the context for a film at the beginning, and you set the tone, and you set the atmosphere, and then the ending is when it goes out of the boundaries of that. I think it makes it stupid.
Well, I don't think it does go out of the boundaries of
No,
that.
I do agree actually. Because at the end, when like the and he's being possessed, and he's standing in that little weird fucking treehouse they've got.
Yeah.
Like when he stood there, and it's just close up of his face, and there's this lady just going, "Praise thee, seventh king of the hell," and you're just going, "What's happened here? What's going on?" All of a sudden, like
Nah,
I just really thought it would just jump the shark entirely at the end.
I really disagree. It was all laid out throughout the film.
I don't think it was all laid
They
out.
set the breadcrumbs out slowly. That's the thing. It's because you don't really know what's going on, but if you're looking at the things and you pay attention and you think about it, it all makes sense. It's just because you haven't seen any of these cult members, so they just seem to come out of nowhere, but they don't really. It's all set up. I mean, there's a page about how this god needs to inhabit a male body.
Yeah, but that shows up literally like 20 minutes from the end.
Yeah, when she's getting more pieces together, but there's been many pieces of this puzzle fitting together.
Also, I thought the ending just tried to be shocking for shocking's sake, as well, and all these fucking naked people everywhere.
Like,
Like,
always do that with cults.
I thought, like, okay, why is this suddenly important? Why do I need to see all of these naked people?
But there were more pieces than that. I mean, she was saying about our man's relationship with our daughter.
Yeah,
How
that
she was
part,
always
yeah.
our favourite, and it's like, how long has this god been in our body? You know what I mean? And also, Joni's Matt, and she said, my mum used to embroider mats just like that, and it's like, and Joni approached her. It's like it's all set up, it's loads and loads of little pieces, and if you just put them all together, it makes sense.
No, but I mean, like, I agree there's loads of pieces setting up to something, but I just don't think it's set up to God of Hell levels. Like, that part really, like, once that happened, I was like, what the fuck has happened here? Like, I was like, alright, spirits, ghosts, all that shit. If it was just like a regular spirit, I'd be like, alright, fair. But like this, all of a sudden just went, this is biblical levels of shit happening.
Yeah, I know, like, if it was just a spirit, I mean,
like, it would be shit, but like, it couldn't have been much shitter than this. I just don't think it was set up well enough for like the entity that it was, you know?
fair enough.
Like, you know, like, I just don't know. I don't know. As soon as she got that book and it was talking about whatever the god was called and all of this shit and showing like loads of like pictures of like
Pomonium or something
Yeah.
like that. Down with a P, I remember.
yeah. As soon as that happened, for some like I can't really properly describe why, but I was just like, for fuck's sake, this is stupid as fuck. One part I did really like was when all of it's kicking off, the last 20 minutes, which are the only good part of the film, because things are happening.
I disagree. I think the opening's the best, to be honest. I think I really enjoyed the first sort of hour of it. Like, I checked my watch, expecting it to be like half an hour in, and we're actually an hour in, and I'm thinking, oh, I've enjoyed this setup, I hope it goes somewhere. And the ending lets us down more than anything. Because I liked a lot of the setup. It intrigued us. It also, it gave us a bit of like, ooh, I really hope they were full way when they pull the trigger on this. I hope they were full way, and they don't.
I felt the opposite about that.
I was just
I felt really bored at the start, and like,
yeah.
I thought the mother character was really interesting, but like the son character and the backstory they try to give him, where he's just this generic fucking kid, it's just so boring.
I thought he was the only good part of the
No.
film, and the dad.
When he's like, oh fucking, let's go smoke pot and shit like that. I'm just like,
That was hilarious. There's one part in this film where he gets a text, and it's the most
Yeah,
pathetic
that's-
thing I've ever seen.
yeah,
he's
man,
like,
that's
he's
what
like,
I'm
I just
talking
shaved my D. Do you want
Yeah.
to come get a bowl of weed? It's like, who wrote this? Not a teenager.
yeah, it's so fucking dumb.
Yeah.
I didn't like. There's actually, I think the dialogue's quite problematic in this.
Oh,
There's one bit that I really didn't like, and it's near the beginning. It's not dialogue. It's actually the sort of choices the characters make. And I know in horror, the trope is the characters make dumb choices, and I totally accept that as a genre norm. But when you're using family and something that is like close to home, and someone's just doing something so dumb, I think it's quite ridiculous. And at the beginning, just for context, the son is about 17. He's still in school in America, but he's not old enough to drink. But he's definitely come at the end of school, and he looks about 25. But
Yeah, he does.
and the sister is 13, I think. Yes. Right, and Toni Collette pushes the son to take his sister to this school barbecue when she pushes it to take him, and she also pushes the fact that they'll probably be drinking, even though he's denying it. But however, like if any mother with a sense knows that they're probably going to be drinking, or at least there could be people drinking there, and they turn up at this house party, and she's just left alone because he wants to go and do some weed.
Are you on an E?
And then
Do some weed.
and then that's when she has this chocolate cake and a nut reaction. Like I don't think it makes sense. And I think when I saw that, I was like, Toni Collette, you're a shit mom.
No, because like she pushes it, and like you can tell she doesn't believe this is a fucking barbecue. She knows this is a house party. She knows, you can see it because she keeps going, "You're not gonna drink, are you?" And it's like. She knows he's not going to a fucking school barbecue. Then she's like, take your sister to a stranger's house where everyone's going to be drinking, and you look after her. You do that.
It's just so dumb. And I just thought no self-respecting mother would let, especially a mother where it's set up, they live in a nice house, they have a nice family, they do all these nice I mean, to be fair, we'll find out later it's not as nice as it looks, but I do think her doing that, I was like, you're off your nut.
More important is how obviously strange this little kid is. Like, you know, she's obviously a loner. She's really quiet. She spends all her time drawing weird drawings and shit. And I know she's wanting that probably to come out of her shell and make friends, like make new friends and shit. But it's like, she should know that that's not the environment to send this strange little kid to do that.
It just seems like a really shitty excuse to get her to eat some cake. So she
It
has
does.
this fucking thing, and then like the spirit is then like transferred to the brother.
It does,
In
but
some
it
weird
took
way.
us out of the film, and I was thinking like, there's 100 other reasons you could get this girl to eat some fucking nuts. Like there's a million other reasons. Maybe she's so weird that I thought she would do it on purpose to get attention. At the beginning, like I thought that was where it was going to go, because I thought she was going to be the one who was possessed, and that she'd be the one, and she'd just be doing shit just to fuck with the family.
Yeah.
And I thought one of the first things might be eating a nut to set off her allergies, and I think that would have been a good scene. But whatever. I thought it was stupid.
I felt like the marketing set it up so that her character was going to play a bigger part and not just die.
I know, I got
I was like really
massive
shocked.
shock.
I was shocked when she died, I think
Best
we all
part
were. It was, I also really liked the kid after that, the guy. I liked all of his part after that, you know, like when he like doesn't look in the mirror. He just drives home and like
just
dies
silent.
in his bed, That was really good.
That
really
was the
enjoyed
best
that
scene.
part. And then after that, it's just like, I don't know, man.
And Toni Collette just like finds the body, but you just hear it all. Oh,
Yeah,
that
that
was
part was,
really,
that part
really
was
good.
good.
I did get a really big shock when that happened. Like,
I love all the aspects that are centered around the family dealing with this trauma. I think that's the film's strongest thing.
Also,
This like groundedness that is then like completely like just cast aside with this cult thing at the end.
Yeah, that's what I like. To be honest, I was halfway through and I was like, I wish there was just it was done in this really dark drama way of the family dealing with the son who is accidentally, but he's done it. He's killed the sister, and the sister who's just weird as out, along with this whole happening just after the grandma's death. I think that would have been a really good drama.
Yeah.
And I think it's sort of wasted in this cult horror.
I feel like I would have enjoyed it, if I
I do
didn't
agree.
think it was like, if they didn't keep like teasing, like if it was marketed as that, and it wasn't actually a horror, I feel like I would have enjoyed it a lot more.
but it's like you're seeing things that kind of elevate it though above just like shocking horror films. It's like then if you saw this, oh well, they're just like walking about getting shouted at, you'd complain about that.
No, because I feel
It's
like
that it has more substance to it, but you're like, but it's still not good enough for me.
No, because I feel like it's not a horror, it's a drama that's bogged down by horror elements. I feel like that's like, once they reveal all the horror stuff, it just, like all of the horror stuff happening throughout. Cut it out, spend more time on the family, more time on him grieving over like accidentally killing his sister, this dysfunctional family. Might have been good. Might have been good, and then like everything they do to like It feels like they just go, oh shit, how we're gonna, oh, there's a cult, and then they went, let's write the cult part into the rest of the film.
Oh man, I feel like they've got the whole setup of this family being manipulated by a cult, and they've just fleshed out this family loads more than you would expect in a horror film.
You know what, and I know what your response to this is going to be, but you know what is my main gripe actually, is that you never find out any motive for this cult, except from this demonic possession of needing to find a male body, and so why? Like, why?
But that's what fucking cults do, man. They're insane. They fucking worship just like evil spirits, evil entities, ancient gods. That like
it's just kind of a cop out, though, isn't it? It's a cop out.
No, but
it's a thing so you can write on a script. And
it's
go,
not though.
No?
That's what cults are actually like, though. They're not these like. Carl, it's a fucking cult for a reason. They're not. They're not all there, for Christ's sake. They're not like, oh well, we'll control this family and then we'll get them to open up a fucking ice cream shop and we'll profit from it. It's a fucking cult, man. The insane people.
I'm just saying. I think a bit of motive would.
A bit of cult motive.
What? Well, listen to us though, right? So you're going fully supernatural with Toni Collette's dead corpse floating down through this mansion into this treehouse, and then you find these literal dead bodies and alive bodies next to each other, worshipping this sun at the end of it. But it's not going to provide any like solid motive of why it just is happening. It just has happened. I think it needs a little bit of a motive, maybe a little bit of thing. Maybe we'll find out the grandma hates them or something. I don't know. Maybe they were shitty to her. Like something that would just clarify to me why this cult would go after them.
Because she's a fucking. They'll call her the queen.
Mm-hmm.
She's a fucking like witch. She's an evil. That's why she doesn't love her family.
I do think it does put that across that she's evil and shit throughout, though. So
yeah, she's not like it's not like she's died and then she's not able to protect them from this cult anymore. Like she was an evil woman.
Yeah.
And she's saying all this stuff about like the rest of her family fucking killed themselves or killed each other, obviously because of her.
Yeah. But
See what I mean?
I just want a little bit of motive for it. That's all. I don't think I'm asking for anything.
I have no.
Carl, it's religious insanity, evil. Just it's scarier. They're just inherently evil people. They're not like, now we will rule the world or whatever. They're just fucking evil people who worship this god from hell. Like why isn't that enough?
I totally get that, but I just don't think. I don't think the film sets up like anything to do with this cult really, and it sort of drops it in at the end. No, it sets up the cults there, but it doesn't set up anything about the cult. You don't know anything about it except that they worship this like satanic hell devil.
But this is the thing, right? Horror is scarier the less you find out. The less you know about something in a horror film, the scarier it is, which is why I don't like them explaining that he's the god from hell. You can put that together for yourself. But it's like, why do you need to have everything like clear as day? That like horror's better when it's murky. It's darker. Things are left in the dark. There's mystery there. It's like it keeps you thinking like, what the fuck are these people gonna do? It's not like that. That isn't the. It's the end of the film, but it's not the end of the story. Like you're thinking, what the hell? What's their end game here?
Well, no, I know what you mean. Toni Collette's dead corpse is running through this, floating through this mansion, up into the treehouse. So it's clearly a supernatural thing. If everything in this film actually happened, it's a supernatural world that they live in, where supernatural things happen, and that defeats the purpose of having this cult that is out there just fucking terrorizing people like Charlie Manson.
They're not Charlie Manson terrorizing people.
I don't know.
What?
I just think it sort of takes it away from
They didn't
them.
tie one of them up in the basement and start cutting them and shit, did they? It's like they're there, but they never touch them or anything. They never do anything to them.
I just think
They're all doing it to themselves. They're around. That's the point. They're surrounding them like it's a doll's house and just watching them do this to each other.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know which
They're not-
side of the fence I fall on you.
It's supernatural. That's the fucking point.
I think the supernatural bits put it a little too far for me.
Okay, fair enough.
It just makes it just go like it goes past scary and into like I'm over it.
I think it has really amazing moments, and the character motivations and the tension that's built between the characters is like developed incredibly well. Like, one particular scene that I really love is when they're sat having dinner, and it's like the mother, the dad, and the son,
Yeah.
and that's really tense, and that like is great. I just didn't like the cult thing, and like I said, I think you said psychological family drama would have been good. I think if it had been more contained like that.
The things that they do in this film are just dumb, and like the writing's bad. I'm just gonna say it. The writing is bad in this film. Every line of dialogue, I thought, no one says this. No one says this shit. Like, and like, there's a part where, you know, when she's got the diary and she like needs to throw it in the fire, and she's like begging the husband to do it, and she just keeps going, oh please, please, I can't do it. Oh no, please, please. I'm like, you're just spending so much time with her saying the exact same line of dialogue over and over again. And like, one of the things I'd hated about this film, if you cut out the every 10 second of unnecessary characters saying nothing or characters saying things over and over again, the film would be like 10 minutes long. There's so many scenes where it's just like a character staring, and like, you know, I know you're going to be like, oh, that's really like suspenseful. But even in scenes where it's not suspenseful at all, it's just like a character doing fuck all, and it's like, why am I looking at this person's face still? I just felt like so much of it was unnecessary and just badly written and badly paced. Just awful. Awful.